Hi, my name is Taylor, and this is my final project on place. Throughout the course of the semester, we have learned and seen how place has an effect on its characters, the role of place, and how place is a character itself. Before this class, I had not thought about how much place is essential to its story, and how complex of an element it is. By breaking down place into three different areas, its effect on its characters, its role in a story, and how it is a character, we can learn more about place and how essential it is to a story. I am going to evaluate place in the movie Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This movie is set both in a real place, Surrey, England, as well as the magical, mystical place of the wizard world. I am going to look at how Surrey is portrayed in comparison to its true value, as well as how both places play a role on its characters, and how place is a character itself. First, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was a book by J.K. Rowling, who was born in England. She wrote a total of 7 novels in the Harry Potter series, which takes the reader through a journey with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, the book's main characters. These books have now been made into movies. The movie starts out with a little mix between the two places, magical and real. Professor Dumbledore, Professor McGonagall, and Hagrid deliver baby Harry to the Dursleys, Harry's aunt and uncle. In this scene, it is a dark night with the camera scanning over a street with rows of houses. Professor Dumbledore, Professor McGonagall, and Hagrid are all magical wizards, and they're in the world with no magic. Dumbledore takes out all of the light from the street lights, and this is the first bit of magic we see, and where the magical world and real world overlap. The darkness really makes this place seem dark and eerie, and it makes the audience wonder what will happen next. McGonagall also morphs from a cat to a human, which is another example of magic in the real world. So this is a video clip of the opening scene with the 3 characters, and you can see how the darkness and suspense really draws the audience in, and how the magic crosses over into the real world.
I should have known that you would be here, Professor McGonagall.
Good evening, Professor Dumbledore.
So after watching that clip, you can think about, well, these characters don't belong in this world, and kind of think about why they're there and what's their purpose. So the place where the Dursleys live is Surrey, England, and this is where Harry grew up until he was 11 years old. This place has a significant meaning because it is important to know how Harry grew up and what kind of effect it had on him living in the Dursleys' home. His aunt, uncle, and cousin were always rude to him, and they made his room a little corridor underneath the stairs. It is also important to keep in mind that they are not wizards, so they did not understand Harry's abilities, and they do not understand the concept of magic. If this had been set in a different place, it would not have the same effect on Harry if he were living with his own parents. As Harry grows up, strange things happen to him that are unexplainable. For example, Harry and the Dursleys take a trip to a museum, and Harry helps a snake escape from its cage. Then the snake turns to him and says, "Thank you," while Harry replies, "Anytime." Again, we see how both places have crossed over, and it gives the audience a little insight to how magic works. Harry also starts to receive letters from Hogwarts inviting him to go to school. This happens through mysterious magical ways, almost as if the letters are magic themselves. By this magical world crossing over into the real, it has an effect on Harry because he becomes more curious about himself and he wants to learn about magic. A powerful place is the Magic Wand Shop, Ollivander's, in Diagon Alley. This has such a strong and powerful meaning to Harry because it is where he found the wand that was made for him, and even more interesting, Lord Voldemort as well. This shop is old and dark inside and is owned by a man where individual boxes with wands line the walls of the shop. All of these elements make this place unique and special. The effect it has on Harry is a good one, but also a curious one. Once Harry holds the wand that is his, something special and magical happens. The wand calls to Harry, but the interesting thing is that it has an identical twin that belongs to Lord Voldemort. This place holds a significant role to Harry because even though he does not know it at the time, he will be meeting Lord Voldemort in the future. And this is a picture of Harry in the wand shop when he holds the wand for the first time and kind of calls to him. This movie has many different aspects of place that are important to the storyline. We see another mixture of both real and magical world at King's Cross train station. This is such an important place in the movie because it is where Harry and his peers' adventure to Hogwarts begins. The train station is big and beautiful with people everywhere trying to get to their train station. The movie shows a scan of train stations with a large train ready to take people to their destination. What is interesting though is that Harry must catch his train at platform 9 3/4. How can this be real? This is another example of how the magical world crossed over into the real world. Harry must take all of his belongings in his cart and run through the brick pole to cross over into the wizard world. This is a significant place because it is where Harry meets his first friend, Ronald Weasley, and they begin their wizard journey. So this is a clip of Harry at the train station with everything, his owl, all of his belongings, and where he meets the Weasleys for the first time.
Alright, Percy. You first. Fred, you next. He's not Fred, I am. Honestly, you call yourself Arthur. I'm sorry, George. I'm only joking. I am Fred. Excuse me. Could you tell me how to get onto the platform? Not to worry, dear. It's Ron's first time to Hogwarts as well. All you've got to do is walk straight up the wall between platforms 9 and 10. Best do it as a bit of Good luck.
So here, Harry officially crosses into the magical world. Once they cross through the portal, they are now in the magical world and must get on the train that takes them to their school, Hogwarts. This is also a significant place because it is where Harry and Ron meet Hermione. And little do they know, they are in for a wild and magical year where they will encounter a variety of problems that they must conquer together. For the viewer, this is their first place at the magical world, and the directors did an excellent job at making it look real, from the jumping chocolate frogs to the outside environment to Hermione fixing Harry's glasses with magic. While watching this scene, it feels like you are riding in the train along with the characters. The very large and most important place in this movie would be Hogwarts, the castle that is the school for the children. This represents so much more than just a school. It is home. It is home for the students, home for the teachers, and home for magic. When I think of home, I think of being in a safe place that is mine. To the students and teachers, this is a safe place where bad things should never happen. The castle is large and plays a very important role in the story. So here's a picture of the students going in boats to the castle, and you can see how big and massive it is, this is their safe place. The castle is definitely not just a place, but also a character. Since Hogwarts is so important and essential to the whole story, it is a character. This is where the students live during their time at Hogwarts and where they have new adventures with their friends. They learn about magic, creatures, and potions. Hogwarts really is a true character in not only the first movie, but all the movies throughout the series. What I believe makes this place so compelling and real is the fact that it was filmed at a variety of real-life places in Europe. The principal filming places for Hogwarts was Alnwick Castle and Gloucester Cathedral. Making the castle not extremely computerized made it very real for the audience. Using real castles and cathedrals made Hogwarts seem even more real, and I think it was a great idea for the directors to do that. Not only did they use those places only, but parts of Oxford University's Divinity School was used as Hogwarts Hospital Wing, and Duke Humfrey's library was used as Hogwarts Library. Instead of using a green screen for these places, real buildings were used, and that is what makes Hogwarts such a unique and interesting place. In regards to the filming of the beginning scene on Privet Drive, it was not actually filmed in Surrey, England. In fact, it was actually filmed in Bracknell, Berkshire. This makes me wonder a little bit how similar the street and scenery is in Bracknell to that of Surrey. Since it is supposed to be set in Surrey, it makes me wonder how much the directors and filmmakers make Bracknell look like Surrey. For those people who did not know this watching the movie, it would not really affect them, but since I found this new information, I watched the movie a little differently. Also, for the small scenes set in Privet Drive, they constructed a set in Levinson Film Studios. This made filming much cheaper instead of filming on a real set. Hogwarts has so many creative aspects to it, like the moving paintings on the wall and the ghost and floating candles in the dining hall. Making this place so unique by adding those elements makes the characters feel like they are in a special world. The effect that Hogwarts has on the characters is a great one because it promotes experiment with magic and encourages the students to learn and do their best. I am not sure where else this movie could have been set while still having the same effect on its characters. While the characters eat in the dining hall, they have friendly conversations with the ghosts, and this creates an even bigger sense of home. The dining hall is also an important place because it is where each first-year student gets placed into a specific house by the Sorting Hat. While some students were placed in Slytherin, others were placed in Hufflepuff. Ron and Hermione were both placed in Gryffindor, and when it was Harry's turn to be placed, the Hat mumbled that his placement would be very tough. Thankfully, he was chosen to be in Gryffindor with his best friends, and after each student was placed, they received a huge feast with endless food. The dining hall really is a significant place for all of the students, since the beginning of their houses began there. So here's the clip of Harry getting placed by the Sorting Hat, and if you look around at the scans of the dining hall, you'll see the floating candles, and you'll see just the long tables with the plates and silverware, and you'll also see all the teachers like Dumbledore and McGonagall really in their element.
There's talent. There's a bit of thirst. yourself. But where to choose? Not Slytherin. Sure, you could be great, you know. And Slytherin will help you on the way to greatness. There's no doubt about that. Oh, well, better be Gryffindor!
So if you watch that clip, you notice just all the details that really make this place unique and special to the students and the staff and the castle. The fire along the edges of the room and the floating candles, it really makes this place stand out from any of the others. The large life-size chess game is a whole new take on board games. Harry, Ron, and Hermione must finish this game of magical chess to continue their quest to find Professor Quirrell and the Sorcerer's Stone. Ron is sitting atop a knight, and Harry and Hermione are playing as their own pieces. This is a large board with huge game pieces that come to life during the game. This place is so creative and magical and unique to the story. This place brings these three best friends together, and it shows how much Ron cares for his friends by risking his own life so the others can continue on to find Quirrell and the stone. So here is the three main characters, and they are ready to start playing this game. And as you can see, the floor is the chessboard, and then the statues around them are the game pieces. And obviously, as you can see, the pieces behind them are ginormous, and they end up coming to life. And this is such a unique place, and magic is really present in this place because the chess pieces start fighting each other, and it's important that Ron, Harry, and Hermione stick together in this place and can move on so they can conquer what they need to do to find Voldemort and the stone. When Harry encounters Lord Voldemort for the first time, it is an important time, and even more so the place where this happens is significant. Voldemort is living on the back of Professor Quirrell's head, and when Harry finds Quirrell, he reveals Voldemort, and Harry meets Voldemort for the first time. This place is dark, eerie, and unwelcoming. It is also below the castle. This is a significant place for Harry because his battle with Voldemort has just begun, and he will be meeting him in later years in various battles. During the course of this class, we read a variety of books. The book where I felt had the strongest sense of place was The Motel Life by Willie Vlaughton. This book portrayed Reno in such a strong way, and we were able to see the effect Reno had on the main characters, Jerry Lee and Frank. Reno supported and almost encouraged the brothers to live in motels, and it was not a place where they could get out of the rut. While this story and the movie Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone are extreme opposites, they both have strong places that affect their characters, and the two pieces of media have places that are characters. Reno really is a true character in The Motel Life, and we see how much Reno affects Jerry Lee and Frank and how much they rely on the place. They rely on the gambling environment and casinos to get more money so they can eventually move away, but it never really happens. This book shows how important place is, and it is interesting that Vlaughton made his book set in Reno because of how much he loved it. In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, we can see how Hogwarts is a character. Hogwarts makes the character feel safe and encourages them to try new things out of their comfort zone. The students are constantly making new potions and learning about new creatures and spells. In both stories, the places affect the characters in various ways, which shows how place can be considered a character. I think this film, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, captures all the elements of place. Place as a character, the effect it has on its characters, and its role in the story. Hogwarts is a character itself just because it affects the characters so much. It also has a huge role in the story being not only the school, but also a home and safe place for the students and staff. We see how place affects its characters and brings characters together, like the train station. Harry, Ron, and Hermione all met there, and that is very important because they will be going on extreme adventures together. That is where their friendship truly began. Not only does this movie incorporate real-world places, but it also opens the door to a magical place, and throughout the movie, we see how these two worlds cross.